Here is something that most men will never figure out on their own. When a woman has genuine feelings for someone and is not ready to show them, she does not disappear or go cold. She stays close, she pays attention, and she shows up in ways that are so carefully subtle that most men walk right past every single signal without ever realizing what they are looking at. And by the time they finally figure it out, she has either moved on or convinced herself that he was never interested in the first place. The truth about women and hidden feelings is something that most of us will never sit down and explain directly to a man we have feelings for, because doing so would require a level of vulnerability that feels genuinely terrifying before we know how he feels. So instead, we send signals, quiet, deliberate, carefully deniable signals. And we wait to see if he is perceptive enough to notice them. Most men are not because they are not intelligent, but because nobody has ever taught them what to look for or why women communicate this way in the first place. Hey guys, welcome back, and if you are new here, I am really glad you found this today because this video is genuinely going to change how you read the women in your life. We are breaking down 5 hidden signs that a woman is holding back real feelings for a man, the signals she sends when her emotions are present but her words are not ready yet. By the time this video ends, you will never look at a woman's behavior the same way again. 1. She remembers everything you say and pretends it's nothing. Let me start with something that women do instinctively when genuine feelings are involved. We remember everything. Not in a general friendly way, but in a specific, detailed, quietly obsessive way that we would never admit to the person we have feelings for. When a woman genuinely cares about someone, everything he says gets stored somewhere important inside her mind without her consciously deciding to hold on to it. The small details, the casual mentions, the things said in passing that he probably forgot the moment they left his mouth, she remembers all of it. And she holds on to it quietly, privately, without ever revealing just how closely she has been paying attention. What makes this sign so easy for men to miss is that a woman with hidden feelings will reference these remembered details in ways that always seem completely natural and completely coincidental. She will bring up something mentioned weeks ago as if it just came to mind. She will ask a follow-up question about something shared in a casual conversation as if she simply happened to think of it. She will show up with something connected to a preference expressed once in passing as if it were the most ordinary thing in the world. None of it looks deliberate from the outside. All of it is deeply deliberate on the inside. A man mentioned once during a group conversation that he had been stressed about a presentation at work. 2 weeks later, completely unprompted, a woman in his social circle asked him how the presentation went and whether things had settled down at work. He was genuinely surprised she remembered. She smiled and said it was nothing, that she just happened to think of it. What she did not say was that she had thought about that conversation multiple times since it happened, had wondered how things turned out, and had been looking for a natural moment to ask without making her interest too obvious. Here is what men need to take from this sign. A woman who consistently remembers the details of what a man shares is a woman whose mind keeps returning to him. Memory in this context is not just good listening. It is emotional investment. It is the quiet evidence of a mind that finds someone genuinely worth holding on to, even when there is no obvious reason to. If a woman in your life keeps demonstrating that she has been paying closer attention than the situation seems to require, that attention is telling you something important that her words are not yet ready to say. 2, her body is telling you what her words will not. Here is something every man needs to understand about women. When feelings are present, but words feel too risky, the body takes over and starts communicating everything the mouth refuses to say. Women are not always fully aware that this is happening, which makes it one of the most honest and reliable signals available. The body does not perform the way words sometimes do, and learning to read it correctly changes everything about how a man interprets a woman's behavior around him. Watch how she positions herself when a man is in the same space. A woman with hidden feelings will consistently angle her body toward the person she is drawn to, even in group settings where she is pretending to be equally engaged with everyone around her. She finds reasons to close the physical distance, sits closer than the situation requires, and creates small moments of proximity that always seem casual, but are anything but accidental. These positional choices happen below the level of conscious decision-making, and that is exactly what makes them so genuinely revealing. Pay close attention to what happens with her eyes. A woman holding back feelings will hold eye contact slightly longer than a purely platonic interaction would ever require. When something funny happens in a group setting and everyone laughs together, she will instinctively look toward the man her feelings are directed at in that moment of shared joy. That instinctive eye contact during genuine emotional moments is one of the clearest and most honest signals the body sends when real feeling is present beneath the carefully maintained surface. Notice how she responds to even the most innocent and accidental physical contact. A brief brush of hands, a light touch on the arm during conversation, an accidental moment of closeness. A woman with hidden feelings will respond to those moments with a level of awareness and sensitivity that goes far beyond what a purely friendly interaction would produce. She may say nothing and show nothing on her face, but her body responds, and that response, however quietly it registers, is communicating everything she has not yet found the courage to say out loud. 3. She creates reasons to be near you without making it obvious. One of the clearest signs that a woman is holding back feelings is the way she engineers proximity without ever making it look deliberate. She does not show up and announce that she wanted to see a particular person. She creates situations, finds convenient reasons, and manufactures opportunities to be in his space in ways that always have a perfectly reasonable explanation attached to them. And most men take those explanations at face value without ever questioning what is really driving the consistent pattern beneath them. She volunteers for the same projects, shows up at the same places, and inserts herself into situations where she knows he will be present. It never looks forced because she is incredibly careful about how she does it. But if a man pays close enough attention to the pattern over time, he will notice that the coincidences are far too consistent and far too convenient to actually be coincidental. Women with hidden feelings are remarkably creative about finding ways to be near the person they are drawn to without exposing themselves emotionally in the process. She also finds small but consistent reasons to initiate contact that always seem completely justified on the surface. She sends a message about something that reminded her of a previous conversation. She tags him in something she knows he would find genuinely interesting. She asks a question she probably could have found the answer to herself with minimal effort. Each of these moments is a small and carefully constructed bridge designed to keep the connection alive and active without revealing the depth of feeling that is actually motivating every single one of them. What men need to understand is that a woman who has no genuine feelings does not work this consistently hard to create proximity and maintain contact. People naturally gravitate toward what genuinely interests them and quietly drift away from what does not. If a woman is consistently finding creative ways to be near a man, to reach out through small gestures, and to keep the connection alive through what always seems like coincidence or casual friendliness, her feelings are already very much present and very much real. She is simply waiting for enough safety and certainty to finally let them show. 4. She treats you differently and hopes you. Notice one of the most telling signs that a woman is holding back genuine feelings is the noticeable shift in her behavior specifically around the man she is drawn to. She might be completely relaxed, easygoing, and naturally herself with everyone else in her life. But around him, something changes. She becomes slightly more self-conscious, more carefully composed, more aware of how she is coming across. That shift is not a personality quirk, and it is not nervousness without reason. It is what happens when someone's presence genuinely affects a woman in a way that nobody else's presence does. She laughs more genuinely at things he says, becomes more animated and engaged in conversations with him specifically, and pays a quality of attention to him that she simply does not offer to everyone around her. These differences are not dramatic enough to announce themselves loudly, but they are consistent enough that a man paying close attention will notice the contrast between how she is with him versus how she is with literally everyone else. That contrast, subtle as it might appear, is one of the most honest and reliable indicators of genuine hidden feeling available. She may also become slightly more careful with her words around him specifically. A woman who is naturally confident and articulate in most situations might find herself second-guessing what she just said, becoming more aware of how she is being perceived, or replaying parts of conversations afterward wondering how they landed. That heightened self-awareness around one specific person is a direct result of genuinely caring about his opinion of her in a way she does not care about most other people's opinions. And caring that much about one person's perception is always rooted in genuine feeling. The consistent and specific difference in how she treats one man compared to everyone else around him is one of the most honest signals a woman sends when feelings are present. People simply cannot fully control the way their energy shifts around someone who genuinely matters to them, regardless of how carefully they try to conceal it. If a man notices that a woman is measurably different around him, warmer, more present, more attentive, more self-aware, that difference is not accidental and it is not meaningless. It is her feelings showing up in the only way that feels safe enough to let them show right now. 5. She hides how much she cares by pretending she does not. Here is the sign that confuses men more than almost anything else in the entire landscape of female behavior. A woman who has genuine feelings sometimes acts like she has absolutely none at all. She seems unbothered, casually indifferent, and completely unaffected by the man she is actually thinking about constantly when she is alone. And men interpret that indifference as disinterest and walk away from something that was actually very much alive beneath the surface. That misread costs more potential connections than almost any other misunderstanding between men and women. The protective indifference is not dishonesty and it is not cruelty. It is self-preservation in its most instinctive form. A woman who has been hurt before, who values her dignity, or who simply cannot yet read how a man feels about her, will guard her emotions with everything she has until she sees enough consistent evidence that opening up is genuinely safe. A woman had been developing real feelings for a man she saw regularly in a shared social environment. One evening, he casually mentioned spending time with a group that included other women, and she smiled warmly, said that sounded fun, and smoothly changed the subject. Inside, she had felt something immediate and sharp, but showing that reaction would have meant revealing feelings she was not yet ready to expose. What makes this sign particularly important for men to understand is that the deliberate calm a woman maintains when she is hiding genuine feelings actually requires significant emotional effort. Genuine indifference requires no effort at all. A woman who truly does not care simply responds naturally and moves on without a second thought. But performed indifference, the kind that hides real feeling beneath a carefully composed exterior, takes consistent, conscious management. The smoothness of the subject change, the warmth of the smile, the unbothered tone, all of it is work. And work in emotional concealment is itself compelling evidence that something significant is being concealed. When a woman seems consistently and almost suspiciously unbothered by things that should reasonably affect her if genuine feelings were present, look closer rather than accepting the indifference at face value. The deliberate calm, the carefully composed reaction, the smooth redirection of conversation, none of it happens automatically when real emotion is involved. It happens because she is actively managing what she allows to show. And the fact that she is managing it so carefully, rather than simply feeling nothing, is the most honest signal of all that what she is managing is very real and very present beneath everything she is working so hard not to show. 6. She tests you to see if you are worth opening up to women. Test men they have genuine feelings for, and most men have absolutely no idea it is happening at any point during the process. These tests are not cruel, they are not calculated games designed to cause confusion, and they are not deliberate attempts to make a man's life more complicated. They are completely instinctive ways of gathering honest information about a man's character before a woman decides whether opening up emotionally is genuinely safe, or whether it is a risk that is likely to end in the kind of pain she has probably experienced before and has no desire to experience again. The tests are always subtle and always disguised as completely ordinary moments that carry no obvious significance on the surface. She might cancel plans last minute just to observe whether he gets desperate and immediately tries to reschedule, or whether he handles the situation with calm and genuine ease. She might share a small vulnerability in conversation to see whether he treats it with real care and genuine attention, or brushes past it without acknowledgement. She might introduce a topic she feels strongly about to see whether he engages honestly or simply agrees with everything she says to avoid any friction. Each of these small moments is quietly and carefully collecting information about who this man actually is beneath the impression he creates. She pays particularly close attention to how he handles situations that reveal genuine character rather than performed character. How does he treat the people around him who have nothing to offer him in return? Do his actions and his words align consistently over time, or does he say one thing and quietly do another? How does he respond when things do not go his way, or when a situation becomes unexpectedly uncomfortable? A woman with hidden feelings is essentially running a quiet and continuous assessment of whether this specific man is genuinely worth the emotional risk of revealing what she actually feels for him. The man who passes these tests consistently without ever knowing he was being tested is always the man she eventually opens up to. He does not need to perform the right answers or strategically calculate the most impressive response to each situation as it arises. He simply needs to show up as a genuinely good, grounded, and consistent person in the ordinary moments that most people never think twice about. That consistency across small and seemingly insignificant moments is what finally gives a woman the safety she has been quietly and carefully waiting for. The safety that makes holding back feel unnecessary and opening up feel genuinely worth the risk. 7. Why she is holding back and what you need to do about it. Let me finish this video with the most important conversation of everything covered today, because recognizing the signs is only half of what a man needs to know. The other half is understanding why a woman holds back genuine feelings in the first place, and what a man should actually do with that understanding once he has it. Because seeing the signals clearly without knowing how to respond to them correctly is like having all the information and still making the wrong decision with it. And most men, even the ones who notice the signs, get the response completely wrong. The most powerful reason a woman holds back genuine feelings is fear rooted in past experience. Most women have opened up before and had that openness met with indifference, inconsistency, or outright rejection. That experience, however old it might be, creates a protective instinct that shows up as emotional distance, even when genuine feelings are very much present and very much real. She is not holding back because she does not care deeply enough. She is holding back because she has learned through painful experience that caring openly before knowing how someone feels is a vulnerability that comes with a very real and very significant cost. The second reason is genuine uncertainty about how the man actually feels. A woman will almost never volunteer her feelings to a man whose intentions and level of interest she cannot read with reasonable clarity. If his signals have been inconsistent, if he has been warm one moment and distant the next, or if she simply cannot determine whether she holds a genuinely special place in his life, or is simply a convenient and comfortable presence, she will keep her feelings safely hidden until the picture becomes significantly clearer. The ambiguity is not comfortable for her either, but it feels safer than the alternative of exposing herself to someone who may not be equally invested. Here is the honest and direct wake-up call for every man watching this. If a woman in your life is consistently showing the signs covered in this video, and a man has been sitting back waiting for her to make the first move, that wait is actively costing something genuinely valuable. Women who hold back feelings do not wait indefinitely and patiently for clarity that never arrives. Eventually, the silence from his side becomes its own answer, and she makes peace with moving on, not because the feelings disappeared, but because she got tired of carrying them completely alone. If the signs are there, create the safety. Be consistent. Be genuinely clear about interest and intention, and give her a signal strong enough that opening up finally feels worth the risk. That is all she has been quietly and patiently waiting for this entire time. Here is the boldest truth I can share as a woman who understands exactly how this works. If a woman in your life is showing even 3 of the signs covered in this video, her feelings are already there. She is not confused, she is not sending mixed signals for entertainment, and she is absolutely not playing games. She is simply waiting for enough safety and enough clarity from your side to finally say out loud what her behavior has already been saying for a very long time. Everything covered today points to one simple and powerful conclusion. Women do not hold back feelings because they do not care enough to express them. They hold back because caring deeply before knowing how someone feels is one of the most vulnerable and genuinely frightening positions a person can be in. If you see the signs, stop waiting for her to take the risk first, and start creating the kind of consistent, genuine, and clear environment where taking that risk finally feels safe enough to be worth it. Now, I want to hear from you personally. Have you ever looked back at a situation and realized a woman was showing you signs you completely missed at the time? Or are you currently in a situation where something in this video just made everything suddenly make sense? Drop your honest experience in the comments below because I read every single one and I will be personally responding. Your story genuinely matters here, and it might be exactly what someone else watching this needs to hear today.